from Michael Shellenberger that I'm about to play for you. Michael Shellenberger is one of the journalists who was a part of the Twitter files, the uncovering of everything that was going on at Twitter, and basically showing the world that Twitter was at the beck and call of all sorts of intelligence agencies. It was stifling people who were speaking the truth, but were not helping the narratives that they were trying to put forth. And by they, I mean the intelligence agencies and the current government administration. Ever since they have blown the doors off of that story, they've been getting attacked online. There's been smear campaigns. Matt Taibbi had an IRS agent come to his house with no explanation of why. The overreach of the powers that be have been shocking, to say the least. I mean, it's just a lot. I'm going to be playing a clip that he just put on Twitter. I'm just going to be popping in here and there just to say some things, explain some things, and yeah, here we go. Let's get into it.
Last month, Matt Taibbi and I testified to Congress about the existence of a censorship industrial complex. The night before, the U.S. government's Federal Trade Commission sent an extraordinary letter to Twitter owner Elon Musk.
The first FTC letter to Twitter after the first set of Twitter files, the very first question was, who are the journalists you're talking to?
Demanding that he, quote, identify all journalists involved in the reporting of the Twitter files. Then, at the very moment that members of Congress were accusing Matt and me of being fake journalists.
This isn't just a matter of what data was given to these so-called journalists before us now.
An IRS agent visited Matt's home. They still haven't explained why. Happily, the attacks backfired. The members of Congress went too far, and their deliberate or accidental use of sexual innuendos.
So you're in this as a threesome?
Made them a laughingstock on social media. But it turns out that they weren't done. 2 weeks ago, I heard from a whistleblower that the censorship industry would shortly retaliate against us. It turned out that at that very moment, MSNBC host Mehdi Hasan was berating Matt Taibbi on air.
The man who used to gleefully heap abuse on the outrage industrial complex on Fox now appears regularly on that very propaganda network he once so wonderfully lampooned.
Shortly after Hasan...
I just want to quickly say, like, what we're seeing with everything that he just explained, what we're really seeing is we're seeing a system that's dying. And we're seeing a system that works in complete conjunction with the media. The government has a problem. The media has that same problem. The government needs someone to be attacked in certain ways, and the media obliges right away. And it's disgusting to see this actually happening to real journalists who are trying to get the truth. They're not saying that they're the only ones that know anything. They're not saying they're the only ones that can help the situation. Nothing like that. They're just doing exactly what journalists are supposed to do. They're supposed to take information and say, okay, this is what we're seeing, and put it out there. And all they've done is that, and it's being like an IRS agent went over to his house, Matt Taibbi's house. And, you know, they haven't been explained why that happened, but I could tell you why that happened. It's to scare you. It's an intimidation tactic. It's exactly what it is. That's exactly what a mafia would do. A mafia would send a guy over and just let you know that we know where you live and we know when you're home. Just to let you know that you could be touched. That's exactly what that was, to send that type of message. This is crazy. This is a government. And I know this video is getting limited. There's no money coming to this video, nothing. Probably going to get copyrighted. All sorts of stuff's going to happen because of this video. But it doesn't matter, because this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to bring people things that matter, you know, or at least matter to me enough to feel like, you know, I should tell somebody about it. And, you know, people are supposed to know. And the fact that they're doing that and being attacked, it's like, this is the type of thing that if you heard it happen in Russia, you'd be like, well, that's Russia. You hear it happen in China, you're like, oh, that's China. But to hear it happen in America is crazy. It's crazy that the government and the media would work like this together. And I know anybody who's watching this, they're like, of course, this is how it's always been, but it's not how it's supposed to be. You know, comedians and journalists are so vital. You know, comedians are supposed to make light of what's going on in the world to the point where you can laugh at it, but you can also think about it and you can have this cheerful discourse towards it. And journalists are supposed to give you the things that are supposed to, the things that you're supposed to have the cheerful discourse about. They give you the facts, you know, and with all of that, with the knowing of it and the lightness of it and actually having the facts, you're supposed to be able to not just think about these things, you're supposed to be able to speak about these things. Man, it's so crazy. It's so crazy to see the attack that happened on comedians years ago and still to this day, constantly. And now to see that same type of energy being put towards journalists is just nuts to me. There's more of the video. I'm going to keep going. Yeah, it's crazy.
And a chorus of others in the mainstream news media falsely claimed that they had debunked the Twitter files. Now, the same member of Congress who called us so-called journalists is threatening Taibbi with prison time for supposedly lying to Congress. Representative Stacey Plaskett sent Matt a letter that recycles the same false MSNBC allegations that we debunked and ends by saying he could face 5 years imprisonment. Never in my life have I seen members of Congress threaten an expert witness with prison time. For the record, Matt's statements were accurate. A small error was made in a tweet, and as soon as Matt learned of it, he corrected it, as all ethical journalists would do. And now Lee Fong, formerly of The Intercept and now writing at Substack, has thoroughly debunked MSNBC's claims. What's more, Fong discovered that Hassan has repeatedly engaged in dis and misinformation himself, including plagiarism.
MSNBC host Mehdi Hassan authored a column in defense of spanking children, No Harm in Smacking, that is nearly a word-for-word duplication of the article When to Spank, published 2 years earlier in U.S. News and World Report.
The bottom line is this. The Twitter files blew the lid off the censorship industrial complex, and its leaders are retaliating, not just to scare us off, but to scare away other journalists. But here's the thing. They don't scare us. They energize us. We are undertaking a major effort to expose the connections between the censorship industrial complex and the military and intelligence communities in the so-called Five Eyes nations of the US, UK, Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. We are hiring several people to do the research and turn the table on the would-be totalitarians. All of this is happening at the same time that Facebook is cracking down on people who are raising questions about the war in Ukraine. The individuals who come from spy agencies who are now demanding censorship of their fellow citizens are breaking the law. They know we have caught them in the act, and they are scared. They should be scared. We can't do this alone. If you know something, say something. You may work in a government agency or for a think tank or university working on so-called mis and disinformation. We need to hear from you. We will protect all confidences. We have already heard from several whistleblowers, and we need more. Just yesterday, an IRS whistleblower came forward to say that the IRS was giving special treatment to President Joe Biden's son, Hunter. Courage is contagious. And if you're still not a subscriber to Public, now is the time to join.
If you don't know, Public is Michael's platform. It's how he gets his message out via Substack. And then a lot of people don't even know what Substack is, and that's why I just wanted to make this video, because I know a lot of people aren't going to hear this. I know so many of you in the comments talk about how you don't have Twitter and you want nothing to do with it, so I figured I'd just jump on there and just bring you something that's going on there. It's actually really sad to see journalists have to pour their hearts out like this, get threatened with jail time. And to what he just said about the jail time, the woman said exactly what the media company said. The woman in government, the congresswoman, said exactly what the media company said when offering up jail time to this journalist. And if that doesn't speak volumes right there, like it's nuts to actually see it. And it is a retaliation because they have been caught in the act. You know, like if I bring it to like the most simple example, it's like when somebody wants to steal from you. It's like when a guy comes up to mug somebody, and then the person kind of gets the drift and they kind of pull their purse back, or they pull themselves, they kind of protect themselves, and then the guy pounces on them because he knows the jig is up. They know what I've done. They know what I'm here to do. I just want to get my stuff and get out of here. That's exactly what's going on in this situation. They know that everybody can see what's happening. It's been deep. It's the claims that, this is a weird sentence, the claims that CSNBC debunked the Twitter files has been debunked. and it's, this stuff just stands. There's no debunking the Twitter files. It's just facts. They're just taking emails and they're just showing the emails. They're just reading off what happened, and they're just connecting the emails in terms of an email thread. They're just finding, okay, there was a message board here. This is what was on the message board. There was an email about this. This is what was said in the email. And to think that that can be debunked is crazy. It makes no sense at all. But it does make sense when you've been caught in the act. You know, you ever catch somebody lying? All of a sudden this mental gymnastics happens and they're saying things that make absolutely no sense. And you're just at this point where you're just like, I know that you're lying to me. Like, you just stop. Whew. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make that video, but yeah, this is absolutely crazy. Michael Shellenberger, his name is Shellenberger, at Shellenberger if you do have Twitter. He's definitely a good follow. He's talking about what he calls the censorship industrial complex, which is very, very real. They've proven that via the Twitter files. And honestly, if you have lived through the past 3 years like I have, I'm sure that you can feel that you don't even have to think about what Michael Shellenberger is saying. You've seen your own facts towards the censorship industrial complex being very, very real. And that's all I got to say. I'm out.